Hey beautifuls, it's Jerome Braggs and I'm here with another aha moment, one of my 10 biggest aha moments from 2015. And I want to share this aha moment because this was a huge one for me, but I want to kind of give you a background story. This I didn't necessarily learn last year, I learned a few years beforehand, but it coincides with this particular aha. This was about, probably about 6 years ago, and I was in my healing journey and I was trying to heal from HIV and AIDS and kidney failure. But I was experiencing both of those things at that time, and the people that were close to me, my friends and some of my loved ones, outside of my parents, didn't know that I was experiencing all of that, didn't know that I was HIV positive, and they didn't know that I was on dialysis at the time. And I had my reasoning, what fear had this rational reasoning in my head. You know, my ego was telling me that to not tell my friends because some of them weren't as spiritually evolved, and they would come from a place of fear, and I didn't need that energy in my space while I was trying to heal. Or fear was telling me that if I told them, they wouldn't be able to handle it, right? They wouldn't be able to handle it like I could. Like I was calm and at peace with it and I was moving through it, but they'd be very scattered and scared. But the truth, the real truth of it was I wasn't telling them because I was hiding. And I was hiding because what I really believed as I began to peel back the layers was that if I told my friends, if I told my loved ones, they would reject me some way. They would think I was unlovable, that being HIV positive on dialysis was somehow ugly to them. It was an ugly truth that I was holding, and they were going to find it ugly, and they were going to reject me because of it. And so when I realized that that's really why I wasn't telling them, that it had really nothing to do with they couldn't handle it, but the truth was I couldn't handle it. I made a commitment to telling my friends, and so I began to tell them one by one. I called them and had a conversation, and each one of them was just so loving and so affirming to me and so supportive. But it was the last conversation that gave me my biggest aha. And I called my best friend. He was my college roommate. I have known him for 10 plus years. We were really close. We've never fought and never argued even. And I called him and I told him, and my fear was that he'd never experienced anything like that. We used to talk about it when we were in college. That was kind of, the last thing we wanted to have was to experience HIV. And here I was, HIV positive. And so I was really afraid that he was going to reject me and that this may end our relationship. And that, especially because I was hiding this from him for so long. And I called him and shaking. I was literally shaking at home. Now he's in New York, I'm in Oklahoma. But I was still, even though there's miles and hours apart from us, I was still like shaking like this when I was calling him. And I called him and I told him, here's what's happening with me. Here's my truth. I know you thought, and here's what I'm dealing with. And this is why I didn't tell you, because I was afraid. And I'll never forget, as soon as I told him, he said, "Oh my God. Oh my God." And then my heart just kind of sank because I was feeling like shit. Here it is. Like he's going to do exactly what I was afraid of. And then he said, "I hate hearing this." And then my heart just went like to the floor, right? Because I was like, oh my God, like here it is. Like this is the end of our friendship and I love this guy. And he said to me, "I hate hearing this. And I hate hearing this because you've been carrying this for so long by yourself and you didn't have to." And it was like just a huge, like a rush of water on my face, kind of like blew me awake. And then he said something that forever changed my life. I will never forget this as long as I live. He said to me, "I want you to know something, Jerome. There is nothing that you could ever be, you could ever do, or you could ever say that would ever make me stop loving you." And even to this day I get teary about that, because in that moment I knew that you can be many things when you're afraid, when you're living in fear. You can be safe. You could, you could stay in your comfort zone. You could save face, which is what I was doing, was saving face. You can hide. You can do many things when you're afraid. But the one thing you can't do or be, you can be many things when you're afraid, but the one thing you can't be is you can't be loved. That fear literally is the barricade to you receiving love. I talked in my last film when I said fear is a compass, and I talked in the last video that fear is a compass. It was the last aha. That it leads you to freedom and happiness. That compass leads you to freedom and happiness. But I also know this, that the opposite of fear is love. And that when we're in fear, when we're holding fear, when we're allowing ourselves to live in fear, to be afraid, what we're really doing is we're separating ourselves in that moment from allowing ourselves to receive the love that's present. Since I've done that, and since I did the things I shared in the last video, when I had the 100 days where I faced my fears, I really walked into my fears. Since I told all my friends exactly what was going on with me several years ago, I've received such an avalanche of love in my life that I didn't even know was possible. Where I thought people would reject me and move away from me, when I faced my fear, what ended up happening was people moved in closer to me. They embraced me more. They showered me with love. They supported me. They affirmed me. My relationships got deeper and better. The things I was afraid of in the last video, like showing my scars in my arm last year, or believing that something about me made me unattractive. What I believed was there was a truth about me that was too ugly to belong into the light. And what I've learned is that there is no truth that you can ever hold, not me, not you, not anyone, that we can ever hold that does not belong in the light. And when you bring that truth to the light, no matter what that truth is, whether it's you're dealing with an illness, whether it's something that happened in your past, whether you made a certain mistake, or you're not quote-unquote perfect in a certain area, or you're failing at something, when you bring that truth to the light, what happens is the light begins to show you that that's where it's always belonged. And not just that that's where your truth has belonged, but that's where you always belonged. And you begin to receive a level of love that you didn't know was possible for you before. And that begins to heal you. That's a whole nother video, but when I began to allow myself to share all of me and not be afraid anymore, the love that I began to receive began to heal me, my body and my life. And so that was my aha, that you can be many things when you're afraid, but you cannot be loved. And so if any of you all out there who are experiencing fear or shame, and that you're hiding or you're keeping something about you from your loved ones or from the light or from sharing, I hope this video is an inspiration to you to know that on the other side of that fear is an enormous and abundant and a healing amount of love that you deserve, and that the only reason why you're not receiving it now and that you're not seeing it in your life now is that you are holding a fear that is keeping you from receiving it. So until next time, until the next video, I love you. If no one else tells you that today, please hear it from me. I love you. I want the best for you. And I want you to come into the light. Until next time, much love.